What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? The Air Raid Lord is back, and we are doing a video prediction for episode 14 of season 9 entitled Scars. Now, here we go. There are 3 episodes left in season 9. I feel like we're just getting started. I feel like it's football season all over again. When once the Super Bowl is over, regardless if my team's won or not, which my team did win this year, by the way. I'm on a hiatus though. I have to wait for the content that I love. In this case, The Walking Dead will be over in a few weeks. But for those of us who like Game of Thrones, the final season of Game of Thrones is starting. So I don't know if you guys like that show. So that'll at least appease some people for a few weeks. I mean, you know, it's a momentous show. But that's neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about a new episode, and this really seems like the calm before. Even though the title of episode 15 is called The Calm Before, this episode is titled Scars, but I feel like this episode is The Calm Before, because the episode description for episode 16 is after a huge, devastating loss, the community has to deal with it. So something momentous happens in episode 15, so now that we're getting episode 14, this is kind of a little bit of a... Even though it's going to be a heavy episode, it's going to be light in terms of what happens to our main cast of characters, all right? There's been a lot of rumors and stuff going on about who we might lose and who we might not lose. I'm going to save that for the prediction for next week's episode. So let's just jump right into episode 14 because there were some new photos that we did get, okay? And they released, as they always release, a day or two after the episode for the previous episode airs. So we've got, and again, a lot of flashbacks are going to be utilized. I can already tell you in terms of predictions, I know why this episode is called Scars. I did a collaboration video with another user named Spencer Rhodes, Dude Guys on YouTube. That video is on my YouTube channel. We did a collaboration a week or two ago. We talk about this, about the scars, what we think caused it, why it happened. We go into a lot of detail in this video. I would highly suggest, I'm going to put that in the description of this video, I'd highly suggest you watch that because a lot of what I could say in this video might seem redundant because I've already discussed it in that vlog. So I'm going to dissect the previews that we've been given and try to give you guys a sense of what will happen based on that. I'm not going to go into a huge prediction of the scars and all that stuff. If you want that video, I will leave a link in the description because I deal with my scars, the physical scars, not the episode title scars. That is in the description. So the first photo we get is Michonne with her longer dreadlocks in front. And this is her old look, the look that she had from, what, season 3 to the first 5 episodes of season 9. And we notice that she is pregnant. She is pregnant with RJ. There were some ridiculous theories going around that RJ was potentially an illusion, just an like part of Michonne's imagination. And Daryl mentions RJ. We see RJ in 2 scenes, one where he's sleeping and another one where he embraces Michonne. So, because I think I think that theory was debunked when Daryl mentioned RJ. It was either in last week's episode or it was in a preview for this week. But he mentions him in some context. So, it's not just Michonne, because if it was just Michonne and RJ, maybe you could make that argument. I mean, Angela Kang has also already said in interviews that RJ is real, the son of Rick Grimes and Michonne. There was that whole setup scene in episode 3 where Rick and Michonne are talking. Rick is talking about the future. He's probably also feeling Negan's words probably affected him. Do you guys remember when Rick confronted Negan in prison in episode 2? The episode starts with it, where Rick goes down, he's talking about what happened during a specific day, he talks about a fight that went on with the Saviors, but how it was resolved, how people come together, it's human nature to come together, and then Negan's taunting Rick, and he's like, your family's gone, Rick. So I have to imagine that conversation that Rick had with Negan in jail probably ignited a little bit of like, oh shit, like, you know, I do kind of want to leave plant my seed, so to speak. And he has a partner, so why not? And he offers this to her. And yeah, Judith is technically his daughter, but biologically it's Shane and Lori's, which Rick already admitted in season 7. So it's not biologically his. So RJ is the biological remnants. And yeah, technically, I mean, actually, it's funny. Judith isn't even blood related to RJ at all. They're stepbrothers. Yeah, because they don't have a same father or mother. So interesting. But so yeah, Michonne pregnant. She's got her sword. She's got a bag over her shoulder. It looks like she has one of Rick's like fleeces. The button down. I'm not sure. I mean, this looks like the button down he was wearing when he was rescued. That brown beige button down. Because again, like a lot of people, I remember some people were saying that Beta had Rick's gun holster belt, and I was like, no, he had that belt with him when Jada saved him on the helicopter. So what, did he just drop it out the window while he was flying away? Like, that's like, he still has his belt. Like, the gun, we do see in the previews that his Colt Python was dislodged because he used, if you guys obviously remember, when he blew up the bridge, he used his Colt Python to do it. So it's very logical that when the explosion happened, his gun was knocked from his grip. And now Judith has it, she uses it, but in the flashbacks we see where Michonne, when Michonne first recovers Rick's gun, which is the first big clue as to maybe where he is. Because if you find his gun but his body is not there, that's definitely like a big thing. Like because that Daryl said that he thinks that Rick, and Norman Reedus confirmed this in an interview, he thinks Rick is out there somewhere. He said, he's like, we never found a body, and if you find a walker or a human, that's an indicator, but finding no body at all, I guess you can assume that a walker maybe ate him alive. Kind of like if you guys remember Lori, after Lori gave birth to Judith, that walker, that bloated walker ate Lori like completely. Like there was literally a pile of blood. The walker ate everything of Lori, and then that was when Rick was unhinged and just like put the gun right in the zombie's mouth and just blew its brains out because he was so pissed off. So yeah, so we have this photo. I mean, she's out in the wilderness, looks like there's a fence, not too much to go off of. Then we have a close-up of her with some blood on her face. Again, is this her way of marking herself as a way of remembering Rick? Some people do think the X's are a way of remembering Rick Grimes. Maybe it's a code or a pact that Michonne and Daryl have. They definitely did something for each other that has to do with Rick. We're going to find out what it is. But does it involve anything that Maggie did, Oceanside? Lots of predictions there. And again, some of those are in the video that I collaborated on. So... and then we have another photo of Michonne standing there, a bit of a close-up. She's out in the road, maybe trying to retrace Rick's final steps. And then we have this interesting we have two interesting photos. We have Daryl Dixon. This is a flashback because he has his jacket. He has like that leather jacket that he wears over his wings jacket. So he's there, and it looks like he's got like 2 arrows in his crossbow here. Kind of doing double the duty. And then we get this interesting photo with Daryl where he's in a school. It's an old school, and I'm thinking to myself, why is he here? This is a really, really peculiar photo. Like, of all the places, maybe this is a school that's near the river where the bridge was, where Rick was last seen, where the explosion happened. Like, that's the only thing that I can think of. That's the only possible thing that I can think of, that the school is... Maybe Daryl thought that Rick was going to try to take shelter here, or, like, try to, heal his wound and wait for help or something. So, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking, that this school is near the bridge, and Daryl is trying to find Rick, and so he goes in this school, and he's looking for him, and that's my conjecture, okay? So those are some of the preview photos. And then we have 2 previews in this episode that we get. We get a couple in episode 14 for The Walking Dead. In the first preview, so in the first picture, All right, I'm doing freeze frame to give you guys these pictures, but we have Michonne and Judith over a gravesite. This could either be Rick, this could be Carl, it could be both of them. The gravesite for Rick obviously is not going to have anybody in it. It's probably just going to be maybe some of his clothes or something to remember him by. And then we have Judith. She's crying, but this is a scene. This is in the future though, so maybe Michonne is explaining what happened to her dad. Maybe that would be logical. And then in the next scene we have Michonne and Aaron. Aaron says that Daryl's at the gates. So this is our group from the previous episode. So Connie, Daryl, Lydia, and Henry are making a pit stop at Alexandria. For reasons I don't necessarily understand. I mean, I thought they would just go to the kingdom because that's where the fair is. But Daryl does say in the last episode that Henry should get patched up for the leg wound that he took when that Whisperer stabbed him with the spear. The spear he ironically made for Lydia to fucking have her protect herself. Of course, he just leaves it out in the open. She didn't want to take it because she was hesitant. And then that Whisperer sees it as a viable option to hurt Henry. And then, he almost kills him, but then the dog jumped in and saved the day, so good job, doggy. So yeah, 3 episodes left. We got our title thing here. They're at the gate. Michonne asks, what about Lydia? Because the last time Michonne saw Lydia, she had her katana to her throat and was threatening her, so she didn't stick around for the interrogation. Daryl and Henry know that Lydia has changed and that she doesn't want to be a part of the Whisperers, but Michonne's going to need to be caught up on some stuff, so we're going to see how that all plays out. Then Henry says that she's with us when Michonne asks. Lydia gives Henry a weird look for some reason. Maybe she's just kind of looking for validation, or maybe she's just kind of like confirming that afterthought, I guess. And then we see a box that says Judith. This is most likely the box that has the Colt Python in it. Yeah, because Michonne opens it. And yep, there's the Colt Python in the next photo. Judith is talking with Daryl. I guess Daryl is... So this is interesting because Daryl is catching Judith up to speed, and probably Michonne and all the Alexandrians, on what's going on with the Whisperers. Like, yeah, they came to the hilltop. Alpha herself came to the hilltop, threatened violence if we don't give her daughter back. We gave the daughter back, but then Henry got a boner and ran after her, so then we had to run after him. And then we made a stand in this building, killed some Whisperers. They think that the big hulking giant Beta is also dead, but we know he's not. He's at least trapped in that elevator for a little bit, and a bit wounded. I mean, he did take that knife to the chest. Didn't seem like it hurt him that much because he just ripped it out with ease. But, I mean, falling into that elevator shaft, I mean, that would definitely hurt your body. I mean, he's going to be feeling some bruises for a few days, I would have to think. And you did see when he stood up in the elevator shaft, he had some blood in his mouth. So, he didn't come away from that battle unscathed. So, we know that Beta is going to be a little injured, but he's also got, it's like punching a gorilla in the face and expecting them to turn the other cheek. You're only going to piss it off more. So Beta is in full rage mode, so we'll see what he does. I don't think he's going to be in this episode. There's just too much to handle in this episode between the flashbacks, Lydia and Henry being at the Alexandria. There's a lot of stuff to handle. So yeah, Daryl and Judith are talking. Judith is, I guess, defending, the decision. She's kind of praising Daryl's decision to bring Lydia into the fold and make her a part of the community and not just toss her out. We see these horses, I believe Michonne and Daryl, by the river where Rick vanished. I'm going to be very interested. Now, here's an interesting theory. What if Daryl and Michonne see, like, the helicopter pads, like where the helicopter landed in the field? Like, could they see imprints in the land, like in the dirt or in the grass? Could they look at the shape, almost like, like UFO crop sightings, when a UFO, like, when people say that UFOs create those crop circles? Could a helicopter make the same imprint on, like, the patch of grass? So maybe Daryl could see the shape and be like, maybe there's something else going on here. Like, maybe thinking Rick is dead isn't the go-to, because It looks like from this photo, they're in the same exact spot where Rick was saved. Because when Jadis finds Rick, he's washed up on like this little plateau of land. And it looks like that's exactly where Daryl and Michonne are, because they can follow where the stream. Because if you recall, when Jadis was standing there looking at all the walkers washing downstream, that's where the water was flowing in a current, and that's why Rick was washed up on shore, because the water washed him up in that direction. So if Daryl, being a smart tracker, could follow the current, he would find the location where Rick was. Not only that, Jadis and her, footprints and boot tracks, and trying to get Rick, like trying to physically haul Rick out of that little mud area that he was in. Maybe some of the helicopter pilot has to physically, because Rick is a heavy dude. I don't know if Jadis is physically strong enough to lift Rick like a full-grown man out of that pit. So maybe Jadis and the pilot have to like get him out. And so there's footprints to track. So Daryl could probably see this and be like, there was something else going on here. Like, this isn't just walkers, there's like, this isn't just walkers feasting on a dead guy's body. Like, there's something else going on here. So I hope that gets brought into this episode a little bit. Because we see them looking, she finds his gun, Daryl's running through the woods, they're on horseback. I mean, and then we see Daryl in an interior. And then we get a very interesting freeze frame here where Michonne screams Judith, and she's slicing a bunch of walkers with her katana. And I'm like, wait a minute, why is Judith, either in the flashback or in the fast forward sequence, why is Michonne yelling Judith? And it looks like in this photo, Michonne has her old hairstyle from the flashbacks. So Judith would be a baby. She wouldn't be walking and talking. She would be like barely crawling at this point, like the younger Judith who was making the finger painting in the beginning of season 9, not Kaylee Fleming's Judith, the older one who can walk and shoot and talk mathematics with Negan, not that Judith. So this confuses me. Why is unless Michonne's whacking out, like having remember when she was imagining her boyfriend and that other guy when Andre died back in season 4? Is she having PTSD flashbacks again? That's a possibility, I suppose. We'll have to see. So that, and then we get our final preview. The final preview is Michonne and Lydia talking to each other. It's more Michonne talking at Lydia. Unless there was a conversation that happened before, but where the preview starts, Lydia sits down on outside probably Michonne's house, and Michonne talks about like the burden of what she's had to deal with Rick being gone. She doesn't name Rick by name, but she says that she's had to do a lot to protect the community, obviously referencing the scars. So maybe this is going to be like a Morgan. You guys remember Morgan, where he told the wolf, the alpha wolf, about his story with Eastman? Maybe this is going to be similar to that, where an experienced character with a heavy backstory relates that story to a character that doesn't know anything, that's an absent party, a removed third party from the story that's being told. So maybe Lydia is the recipient of those words. Maybe Michonne, for some reason, feels like she should open up to Lydia because Lydia is opening up to their community with her relationship with Henry and everything going on there. I've seen some people saying that Michonne is trying to convince Lydia to leave because, technically every minute that Lydia's at Alexandria, she's a threat because Alpha is looking for her. And again, I hope that's not true. I don't want them to just rehash the same plot that they had from episode 11, where Lydia has to leave, Henry is thinking with his dick, and then runs after her. Because I can tell you, if he runs after her again, I can't see this having a good ending. I just cannot see it having a happy ending, because it worked out the first time where Alpha told Lydia to kill Henry, and then Daryl saved them just in the nick of time. But if it happens again, I don't know if the show is going to be that generous. Like, fool me once, shame on, like it's that old saying where one time, okay, but like to do that same hat and magic trick again, there's going to be consequences if that happens. So, but the question is, do they have time for that? Because this episode is focused on the scars, the flashbacks, Michonne and Daryl looking for Rick. A lot of it happens in the past. It looks like that's the focus of this episode. So it was confusing to me that they had this extra plot point where Michonne is trying to feed thoughts into Lydia's head, like suggesting maybe she should not be there with them. And it's frustrating because I want Lydia to be with the group. I don't want her to be with the Whisperers because they are abusive towards her. And it's really, I love the relationship dynamic that Henry and Lydia have. I've been a proponent of it for many episodes now. And maybe I'll discuss that in another vlog later, but I don't want anything stupid, because I don't want them to have some dumb plot thing like, oh, Lydia just decides to leave at the end of the episode because of one conversation she had with Michonne, without consulting Henry or Daryl or anybody. And because this episode should focus, it's titled Scars. It should focus on the physical scars that Michonne and Daryl have, what split the communities apart, what happened, like what happened in that time frame from when Rick blew up and was taken on the helicopter to when Judith is older and the communities don't want anything to do with each other. Like I want those answers in this episode, and I want to focus on that. I don't want to divulge into, as much as I've liked the Henry and Lydia stuff, let's put that on the back burner. Let's resume it for episodes 15 and 16. We still got 2 big episodes. Let's resume all of that for 15 and 16. But let's really have a true flashbacks episode, and I want answers. I want answers. I don't want it to be a cop-out bullshit thing. Give me good answers, and don't have any dumb, like at the very end of the episode, someone runs off or some dumb thing like that. Like, that's my hope. Just give me a good story with the flashbacks. It seems like the opening minutes, I did see a few clips here and there on Instagram of the opening minutes. It's this very sad love song. Michonne is searching around for Rick, and then Daryl finds her, and it looks like they're slurred. So that's how the episode starts. The episode starts with a flashback. So let's stay consistent. I mean, I trust Kang. She's been doing a good job with these episodes so far, and it's been on a good streak. Keep it going, and we should be in for some greatness moving forward. So yeah. So those are my predictions, guys. Let me know what you think about the episode. Do you think we'll get Lydia and Henry stuff? Obviously, Daryl talks with Judith. But I think, they'll get caught up on the situation of what's going on, because Alexandria really has been removed. Actually, so is the Kingdom. At the end of episode 13, Tara and Carol were like, Carol's like, where's Henry? And Tara's like, oh, I thought that they would be here by now. And because Carol has no idea. But wouldn't Tara tell Carol about the Whisperers? That's my thing. Like, wouldn't she say, hey, a bunch of crazy freaks wearing masks walked up to the gates of the hilltop demanding the daughter of this other person we captured? Because if Alpha's gonna infiltrate the fair in episode 15, it would be helpful if Tara and the hilltop residents told the Kingdom about this outside threat. Maybe tell the highwaymen, because the highwaymen are still hired guns who are defending. That's their job. They're supposed to be defending. So they should probably be... That's the thing, though. They're probably going to get drunk, watch movies, kick back with alcohol, and probably be like, hey, movie, hey, and be caught off guard. I can guarantee that. But anyway, don't want to get into... That's episode 15 stuff. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Episode 14. Give me a good explanation. I've been dying to know this mystery of what happened with everything post Rick Grimes. 6 years. 6 years. Shit went down in 6 years. What the hell happened? Give me some answers. I've outlined some predictions in that prediction video I did with Spencer. So check that out, because I elaborate way more. And this is just a breakdown of the photos and some things that I think might happen. Interesting things like Daryl in the school, that they're at the location where Rick went missing. The Lydia conversation is a bit peculiar. I'm wondering what's going on there, because again, this episode should be focused on 2 characters, Michonne and Daryl. Those are the 2 characters they should be focused on. Maybe we'll see Maggie. Maybe that's a possibility, because her leaving the hilltop, I guarantee, has something to do with Michonne and the shit that went on here. So that might be, so, give us the OG characters. Give us let me feel like this is an OG episode just for a minute before we move into the shitstorm that's coming with the Whisperers and the Fair. Okay? That's all I asked for. Thank you, guys. And we'll watch episode 14, and I'll do my reaction. I hope you guys are liking the abridged version of the reactions. I like it. I think it's good. People, all the comments have been very positive. I don't get comments like, "Where's the full episode?" Because I think when people see the length of it, they assume that it's the full episode. But if I keep it at a 20-minute brisk pace and cut down on some stuff, I think it attracts the right audience, people who actually want to see my thoughts on the episode, my reaction, and stuff like that. So I'm glad that I changed up this format. Probably maybe should have done that a long time ago, but it is what it is. So, okay, guys, thank you very much. Appreciate all of you. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Peace out.